Hey everybody, today I'm here with my friend Buddy, and we're here at Ayala Mall at the Social, and we're going to talk about the difference between Thailand and the Philippines. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing?
My pleasure. Good. Great.
How long have you been here in Cebu City on this trip?
What time is it?
It's 10:30 in the morning, guys. It's early.
It's I've been here, let me think. I got to the airport, Lapu-Lapu, on the 19th, I believe. So just over a month.
Just over a month?
Yeah.
And I remember a comment you mentioned once that you were going to find a place for about $350 a month here. Did you end up finding that?
Yeah, it's kind of what it turned out to be. I was negotiating with a bunch of real estate agents, and some of them they're telling, oh, you can't get what you want. And I said, well, I can get what I want because I want what I want. And so I finally got this guy. I think I met him, not him, but I got his listing on RentPad, I believe. And I wrote him and I said, what I'm looking for is a 6-month lease with a 1-month deposit. I said, if I'm going to stay a year, I'll give you 2 months, but I can't see paying a third of my rent in deposit.
Yes.
Only did not get it back, which has been my experience elsewhere.
So you got it. I think you told me it was like $380 maybe a month.
Yeah, whatever. And like we talked about the other day, is if you've never been an expat, you exchange rates never enter your mind, and it's very crucial on our minds all the time. So whatever it is, it's 19,000 pesos.
Yeah, you keep an eye on that exchange rate, guys. Keeps changing. Now, how long were you in Thailand this time?
I was there for a year.
1 year.
Yeah.
So where did you live in Thailand?
Lived in Chiang Mai, the jewel of the north. Chiang Mai is the home of the Lana Kingdom. I lived right across the street from the old city, which was the old kingdom. There is a moat around the whole old city, and I lived just across the street from that.
And what was your rent there, can I ask? And what kind of
you
place
can ask me anything.
Yeah.
It was 10,000 baht a month, which when I first arrived was $265. The baht is doing poorly against the dollar, which is great for Americans, obviously. Yeah. So now, last time I looked which was the other day. I think it was 270, 277.
So under 300, you got a nice place to live.
Absolutely. I had a 50 square foot, 1-bedroom condo with a big balcony overlooking a schoolyard, which, obviously at recess that could be noisy, but it meant there wasn't another guy's window, and then I could see the mountains that rimmed Chiang Mai.
So you had a nice view and everything.
Nice view.
So how did you like that city?
As opposed to what?
Cebu.
My place now is a lot smaller for more money.
The rental.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the city itself.
I like the city. I haven't seen much. Really, I've only seen IT Park.
IT Park here.
But coming around here, I like this area a lot.
This is the Ayala Business Park area?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And IT Park, there is an Ayala Mall. It's Ayala Central Block. It's much, much smaller.
Smaller place.
Yeah.
We walked there yesterday, Janet, myself, and Mary. It's a younger crowd there.
Much.
It's a much younger crowd and a working crowd.
Working crowd. It's really the home of, I don't know if it's all of them, but there's a great concentration of call centers there.
Call centers there. Now, in Thailand, where you were living, is it a younger crowd there, or is it an older group in that city you lived in?
Again, I'm a homebody, so I don't go out much. I'm a writer, and so that's what I do. In my area, it was certainly a much younger crowd, even more than what you see, I think. It's a lot of European and American and English, I don't know, backpackers.
Backpack travelers, summertime travelers,
Yeah.
out of school in their 20s maybe.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, at 66, I look at them and they look like they're 14 to me.
They're all young.
Daddy's money.
Daddy's money. Now Thailand's on the mainland of Asia. It's not an island.
Right.
So a lot of these backpackers, they come there and they're going to go to Thailand and over to Cambodia and
Probably.
Malaysia.
A lot of, so anytime you see the word Ko in Thai, that means island, so they go to Koh Samui.
So let's talk about the infrastructure,
Yeah.
the difference between the two. You've walked around the city of Cebu a little bit, and you've walked around, of course, in Thailand.
Yeah.
How do you find the sidewalks and the roads?
in Chiang Mai, sidewalks are not meant for people.
They're not meant for people.
They're meant for trees and power lines. And so down, again, I didn't go, as we talked about, this is just one man's opinion and one man's experience of very limited amount of information. So around the old city, on the sidewalks, there's a barrier everywhere. You know, it's going to be a light pole or a tree, and you can walk around it. I have a little vertigo, so it's a little different for me.
Not handicap friendly at all?
Not at all. Not at all. My friend Will is there now, and he uses a cane, and so...
It's tough. The sidewalks here in Cebu are tough because they're uneven.
Yeah.
And they'll have holes open. You know, they use cement blocks as like the sewer cover, the drainage system, and those will be gone, and you'll be walking in the middle of the night, and there's just a drop.
Yeah.
You know, the holes are bad. And up and down on the curves.
So my first venture out of the U.S. as a retiree, as an expat, was Guadalajara, Mexico. Guadalajara was much worse.
Much worse.
Because they don't cut the trees, and if a tree grows from anywhere and it's doing anything to the sidewalk or your property, it's too bad.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
So, how about the internet? People tell me Thailand infrastructure for like electrical, brownouts and such, the internet is much better than here in the Philippines.
My internet isn't bad. It takes a little while to upload a video.
Is that here in Cebu?
In Cebu.
Cebu.
In Thailand, it's jet fast.
Yeah, the upload speed is very slow here.
Yeah.
And since Cebu is a more modern city, they don't have the brownouts like we do in Dumaguete. You know, we have them almost on a weekly basis.
Even planned, right?
Yeah, the planned ones, 12 hours long. You have to plan a whole day of doing something. So people enjoy Thailand more. The infrastructure, the roads, I think, are better.
They are.
Driving roads.
The traffic is about the same.
The traffic's about the same, but the roads.
Thailand, I think the last thing I read is number 5 on the automotive death list.
Really?
Yeah, road accidents.
I wonder where Philippines is on that. I don't know.
When I moved to Bali, which was after Guadalajara, that was my first experience with the amount of motorbikes, because in Sanur, Bali, it's just all motorbikes. And like perhaps you've seen here, you'll see an entire family on a motorbike, 5 people.
5. Jan and I have a photo of 7 people on a motorbike.
Oh my goodness.
So let's talk food. People talk Thailand food is so much superior to native food here. We're not talking about, Fridays or
Right.
Burger King, but the native food.
Yeah, and I eat often at the Carinderias because it's inexpensive, and frankly, the people are very, very friendly there. I would rather hang out in the barrio. I don't know if it's called the barrio, than go to the mall because the people are regular, down to earth. But no, the food is. Thailand has recognized world-class cuisine.
Yeah.
And to go to a local restaurant, and I would go often and never see another foreigner ever. One guy I was gone shopping for supermarket, and I went to this place across the street, and they actually spoke English quite well. But I said, "How many foreigners have ever been here?" He said, "Just you."
Just you.
Yeah, and I got a bowl of wonton noodle soup for 40 baht, which is, I don't know, $1.19.
Under $2 for a meal. Yeah. And the food prices, I think, are, from what people tell me, because I've never been to Thailand, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, are the basic food prices cheaper there?
Cheaper.
Than here?
Even the supermarkets. I had at the end of my street, about a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk, was a morning market, and it opened at 3 in the morning and closed at 10 in the morning. So I got there often at 6:30. Again, I'm the only, Farang is foreigner in Thai, so I was the only Farang there ever that I saw. And then eventually they knew me because I'm the only white guy there. And there was never any skin tax.
I've never felt skin tax.
Yeah, the only time I ever had it was when I first got there. There's a huge mountain and a very famous temple next to Chiang Mai, and that's Doi Suthep. Doi means mountain, so it's Suthep Mountain. There's a very famous temple on the top. So this woman took me there. She didn't have to pay, but I did.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that in Behold. There's some place where I saw foreigners pay and locals don't.
Yeah.
I'm against that, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So how about the friendliness of the people?
Thailand is known as the land of smiles.
Is it?
Yeah.
And is it the land?
It is. It is. So I did Chinese martial arts for a long time, and part of that was relaxation. So, particularly doing Tai Chi. So, I have relaxed for so long that I end up with standing or sitting bitch face, which means my mouth naturally goes into a frown because my face is relaxed. So I have been in the past few years trying to practice smiling so I don't look like a grump, which I am, but which I don't. And so I would smile all the time, and you smile at someone and they smile back.
Here in the Philippines, the people, I find them very friendly.
Yeah.
Except in the service industry.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think they're working, and they're working for a low wage, and people are constantly bombarding them for something that they've lost that friendliness to the person. It just seems that way in the service industry. Now, not a bartender or a waitress, because they make their living waiting on people, but the janitor in the building or the maintenance crew when they come up to the condo to fix something, they're not as friendly as the people that hold the door for some reason.
I found the same. In the supermarkets, I talked about, I went to Mr. DIY, which is not in the U.S., and I asked the guy at the door, I'm looking for some pillows, which I had seen just the other day. He said, no stock, sir. I said, I'm pretty sure there is stock. Could you out and ask someone else? And he did, and he showed me where the pillows were. But it was just that first initial negative.
I don't want to be bothered.
I don't want to be bothered. And for me, if I were a business owner, that would piss me off.
And, they really don't pay people much.
Right.
It's hard for me to complain, but you can feel that. It's the same thing in the grocery store. I go to Hypermart, and you have to get the coffee ground. And there's only one or two people that can do it. But you go up to the person and they just point down the road, down the aisle, that you have to go talk to someone else. Just in the service, it's
the stock
tough.
guys I found in Metro, in IT, where, I'm looking for, what did I say? I'm looking for olives. I wanted to make a dirty martini. Olives? You mean olive oil? No, if I meant olive oil, I would have said olive oil. So finally we had to go to the shift manager, and she found the olives. Another thing was baking soda, which I used to brush my teeth. No, don't have any baking soda. I'm sure you have baking soda.
Somewhere.
So the two different guys finally found two different places where baking soda was. So,
But if you go to a small eatery, that's where locals go to eat. Those people are very friendly.
Completely different. There's one, and for those of you who don't know, it's called a carinderia. And I go to one in particular, and now they know me there. And so, they're always jovial and smiling. So the elephant in the room, a lot of expats, as you know, come to Philippines in particular, but Southeast Asia in general, to meet a woman. I didn't come here for that reason.
I did.
I came here because it's cheap, and I'm cheap. So, but women of all ages, sometimes, in my opinion, inappropriate ages, will definitely smile at you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's pleasant.
That's pleasant. It's nice to be, someone throws a smile at you, but you got to be careful.
Yeah.
You got to know your limits and the boundaries.
I'm a fan of the fair sex, so I don't mind that. But I don't approach them. What I read was, my experience is being on dating sites that sometimes they'll say, well, let's do a face-to-face on whatever, a live call, and then they don't talk because they're extraordinarily shy. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know that I would approach someone in a group or even by themselves, even with the broadest of smiles, because I don't understand the culture that much, and I don't want to embarrass anyone.
And a lot of that, when we're talking about people not being friendly, sometimes it could be their lack of English,
Yeah.
and maybe they just want you to be gone because they're not comfortable with the language. So we went over the friendliness of people, the infrastructure. What about public transportation?
Well, let me just go back to that.
Oh, you want to
briefly? Is when you do deal with service people, and I understand perfectly why they might have this feeling, having been in that industry before. Is sometimes the politeness seems very forced and feigned.
Yes.
And I would rather you not be fake polite than to be, just tell me you don't know. So yeah, transportation. I move to places where I can walk everywhere. I have hip replacements, so riding on a motorbike is just not an option for me. If I were to fall, it's certainly cheaper here or Thailand to get something like that fixed. But it's a huge expense, so I don't do it. I move to places where, that's why I moved to IT Park, because I can walk everywhere.
You can walk everywhere. Now, we were talking earlier about taxi cabs.
Yeah.
Here in Cebu, compared to Manila, you read the horror stories of people getting, $25 cab rides around the block. I don't find that in Cebu.
Never experienced it. Never. I don't even, and I had heard, to make sure you tell them to turn the meter on. Never had to tell anybody to turn the meter on.
It's on as soon as I open the door.
Yeah.
It's right to the 40 or 45 pesos. It's gone up 5 pesos.
Not the ones I've been in. No.
It has the one I was in yesterday had a sign. And I think maybe it's street pickup.
Yeah.
Like if you wave them down, they got to pull over.
Yeah, I went to the mall and there's a line of them. So.
Yeah. That's how we got home last night.
And so Thailand, and of course there's Grab here. In Thailand, there's a couple of them, but there's another one that I use called Bolt. They weren't as predictable as far as being picked up or let off, but being picked up, and depending on where you were, you might not get a driver. You might have to cycle through a few times, but in some cases, it was half the price of Grab.
Okay.
Also in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, again, I can only go by my experience. In Chiang Mai, there's something called Songkhiao, which I don't know what you call them here, not like a tuk-tuk, but a bus, open air bus.
Oh, the little jeepneys.
Yeah, jeepney. It's like a jeepney,
yeah.
and they're all red or they're yellow.
Yeah, they're colorful.
Yeah.
And everybody gets it. It's 20 pesos, and you take your coin and bang it on the metal, and the driver knows to stop.
Oh, okay.
That's how they know, how to stop. So I saw him. Buddy has a YouTube channel. I haven't told anybody that. What's the name of your channel, buddy?
It is, I think I just changed it. It's the Buddy Show Worldwide in Pattaya, Thailand. Although I don't live in Pattaya, Thailand, and I'm not certain I'm going to live in Pattaya, Thailand. That's initially where I thought I was going to go to.
I looked it up by just doing the Buddy Show.
Yeah.
It popped up on my YouTube. So, how many different countries have you lived in?
When I first retired, which I never had any plans of doing until my daughter told me her mom retired, and I thought, retire. And then I started watching YouTube, and I saw these young YouTubers, and they talked about Guadalajara, Mexico. So my first initial venture out was Guadalajara, Mexico. I lived in a very small studio in a place called Colonia Americanas, which is a neighborhood, the American neighborhood, although it was very few Americans. And my rent, again, started out cheaper, but ended up about $365 for a very tiny studio. My next move, I had talked to Gio, and Gio and I were talking about moving to Indonesia, and he sent me a photo of this villa in Bali, and he actually wanted us to go to Jakarta. So then something happened in his life, and he decided he was going to stay. I had to leave anyway because I had already been there 6 months. I actually overstayed my visa to no ill effect because the Mexicans are cool. And I ended up in Bali for 6 months with the visa we talked about. And from Bali, I moved back to the U.S., to New Hampshire for 7 months. Winter came, and that's why I left the U.S. in the first place.
That's good reason to leave.
And then I was dead set on going to this little Pacific village in Nicaragua called San Juan del Sur. And I was in contact with people there, and by then I'm back. My daughter said, hey, come visit us from New Hampshire. And I thought, okay, well, this is a good jumping off point. And so I decided I was going to move again. And I got a PCR test, which I think ended up being the wrong PCR test, because I got to Mexico City and they said, oh, Nicaragua said they don't want you.
They don't want you.
Okay, well, I can't go back and I can't go forward. So I had contacted some friends I met online, 2 travelers in Mexico, Paulette and Mark. And that's their YouTube channel. I recommend it if you're interested in San Luis Potosi. And I got hold of them by email. And I said, look, you invited me to come visit you and stay for a week or so when I was in Guadalajara. And they said, yeah, come on down. So I did, and I stayed at their house for 4 or 5 days. And they found a place for me, not ideal for a senior citizen. There was me and 4 other young college-age Mexican guys. But the rent was really cheap. And there was 5 of us, 6 of us, including me, in our group. And other than that, I didn't see another non-Mexican for 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say they don't want to hang around foreigners, so you did that. Was it hard to not have other Americans nearby? Did you miss talking to people?
Yeah, I did. I do even now, and a lot of times when I get a chance, I just talked to my niece this morning, and I just yammer, because I spend a whole lot of time alone as a writer. So I miss conversation. As we talked about, my career was talking to the public, 300,000 people a season for 20 years. So I'm used to talking.
You're a talker. Now, you stayed here in the Philippines, and I saw on one of your latest videos, you're leaving. You're going back to Thailand.
I am.
And when you leave, see, now why do you want to leave? She's so cute. She gave him a double smile, turned around twice.
Yeah, the double tick.
But you're leaving.
I am, yeah. So I moved to Southeast Asia to be in an Asian country. Bali was that. Certainly Thailand is that. Philippines, although it is, for me, isn't Asian enough.
It's not Asian enough.
Right.
I've never heard anybody say that, not Asian enough.
Yeah.
So what does Philippines remind you of then?
It reminds me of Mexico.
It reminds you of Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I got to Guadalajara, when I got to Lapu-Lapu, I thought, this is Guadalajara. Mm-hmm. The same true when I was in Jakarta. I had to stay 5 nights in a, what do you call it? It was during COVID, so.
Oh yeah, quarantine.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
And the slums were driving through. I said, this could be Guadalajara. When I got over to Bali, though, nah, because Indonesia is Muslim, but Bali is a Hindu island in the middle of a Muslim country. Bali was really Asian, and Thailand is really Asian. I mean, you can't spit without walking into a temple in Thailand.
Yeah. Now, people tell me before you head back, did you partake in any of the medical services in Thailand or in the Philippines?
No issue to.
Yeah, so
I need to get my teeth cleaned. And
well, they have Apple Dental downstairs. They do a nice job.
Yeah.
So you're going back. Is this going to be another long-term stay? Are you planning a year?
Yeah, at least a year. At least a year. I'm not certain. I'm looking at not Pattaya. Pattaya, for those of you who don't know, is the sexpat capital of Thailand. I don't go there for that. But where I was looking at it actually is Jomtien Beach, which is just south of Pattaya. My Steve friend told me about a place. So it's a sort of a triangle. On one side is Pattaya, on the other side is Hua Hin and Bangkok in the middle. So Hua Hin is another place I'm looking at. It's by the look of it on videos, it reminds me of San Juan del Sur in Nicaragua.
So now, when you go back there, for the general audience, what kind of budget do you have in that area?
I've never spent $1,000 a month. When I first retired, I was making $970 a month in Social Security, and I never ever. But my whole life, I've never spent more than I've made.
And I think because you're a seasoned traveler to these countries, I think you can keep your costs down more than somebody who's just leaving Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
Having the exciting life and coming. It could be boring.
And that's one thing I learned from Paul and UK Paul in particular, he said, you need to get a hobby. He doesn't, but he does YouTube. Because you're going to end up like all these drunks. You end up at the bar at 10 a.m. And I've seen it, you know, and that's not me at all. I enjoy adult beverage often, but not in the morning because I'm going to go to sleep at 3 and I don't want to interrupt my sleep pattern. But that apparently is prevalent. Perhaps you've seen it.
Yeah, I see that. The boredom, and if you don't do something, if it's walking the beach every day or going to the boulevard in Dumaguete or going out for your morning coffee and meeting some guys, a lot of guys go to the bar. And then it's comfortable. They meet a couple other guys and they drink and they talk sports, politics. Then it's nighttime.
Yeah.
They go home and sleep and they do it again. It's a terrible way to live, in my opinion.
It's the road to death, I think.
Yeah. So you're back to Thailand, long-term stay there. Let's go over your YouTube again. The name again is?
The Worldwide Buddy Show.
And I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. Yeah, it's the Buddy Show.
Yeah, the Buddy
I'll leave a couple links, and we'll pull up a couple of his nice videos and put it up there. I want to thank you for being on the air. Before we go, do you want to tell anybody about your channel or what it's?
If you've ever seen the Old Dogs channel, it's like that. I have no idea how to edit videos. It's not something I'm interested in. I'm a writer. I'm also going to do a side hustle about teaching people, and I had a brief episode, Make Money Mondays, and it got to be too much. So I'm getting back into internet marketing, and I'm going to teach internet marketing on a different channel. But my channel is just, it's me shooting the shit.
The big thing about this channel is if you have questions about Thailand, you're thinking of going there, I can't answer those. I've never been there. Leave Buddy a comment. He has his email address. Send him an email.
Yeah.
And ask him the question. I'm sure he'll answer it.
I'm very approachable, you know, obviously very gregarious, so come on down.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time.